Poem Mexico by Edgar Allan Poe. We headed to Sonora in search of that 220-inch buck. It didn't take long to see we wouldn't have much luck. A cocktail or 10 while waiting to board. 5 hours later, we landed, only needing the Lord. Our bags didn't arrive, but we were still drunk. In came Rafa and Baruga. We stacked beer in the trunk. Driving in the dark, the Volt was 2 hours away. We sang Backstreet Boys, Baby, I Want It That Way. Whipped into the lodge without missing a beat. Greeted by our guides we've been waiting to meet. The very first morning, Hardy had a hammer in sight. It was missing a tine, and that started a fight. Lance didn't know what the fuck to think. This guy thinks a 34-inch buck is a dink. The rest of the hunt, they sat in silence. John wanted that giant, Wade promised his clients. In came Marcus to save the day. A 3-foot toad, he blew him away. We hooped and hollered and turboed a beer. Even bought an arrowhead cut from a mirror. 1 buck down and still 3 to slay. Wishing we came down around Christmas Day. Bo traded in Braden for a guy named Rob. It was easy to see he was the man for the job. Sitting in the high rack with time to kill, we wrote a poem about Tyler, surely against his will. 31-inch buck, heading to the orange pile. The only 4-pointer that we killed, I bragged for a while. Still needing to help our poor buddy Mitch, we sat on a mountain until Bo spotted that bitch. The light was fading, so we radioed to Brandon. Guided him right to that buck, thank God he's still standing. Couldn't get Mitch in the scope, he was on the wrong side. Wouldn't have seen him without help from his guide. The buck went down like a sack of shit. We were so pumped it was time to get lit. We hurried back to the lodge to party the night away. An hour or two, we all watched Lance sway. Only Bo, Mitch, and Marcus made it up till 2. Woke up with a headache. Oh, what did we do? We taxied to town to find the cleanest drugstore. Quite the wait, so had a tequila or 4. Lunch at Machasmo to give our stomachs a base. Flight leaves soon, now we must race. Drunk as hell, but not over the fun. We ran into a guy who once took John's gun. John said he was sorry all up and down. The two buried the hatchet, but not with a frown. Another layover in Phoenix, with the bar in our sights. The last time we'll ever let Shannon book our flights. Big Mike told us, for the trip we weren't terrible, but on the trek home, we were quite unbearable. Making it home at 2:30, we all agreed it'd be a week before we had a solid poo. Looking back at the trip, it was one for the books. We would have had those 2 hats, if not for the cooks. Viva Mexico!